Night on a very special Red Eye.
Coming up on Red Eye, how much do cute pets with dyed hair and stupid outfits hate their owners? It's the story that's getting more attention than Anthony Cumia and the border crisis combined. Plus, does the vice president want to deport Anthony Cumia?
It's the right thing to do. It's the Christian thing to do. But it's also an incredibly practical thing to do.
And finally, tiny boat or giant Rubik's Cube? Anthony Cumia leads the discussion in what'll surely be this summer's most controversial debate. None of these stories on Red Eye tonight.
And now, let's welcome our guests. Well, if looks could kill, she'd murder you and convince a jury it was self-defense. I'm here now with criminal defense attorney Remy Spencer. That's an I, not a Y, Remy. Well, right. She's hotter than an easy-bake oven at a Girl Scout sleepover. And like that oven, she operates on a dim bulb. It's Joanne Nosachinsky. They're always waving. Well, he has sad puppy dog eyes. Seriously, he has them in his pocket. There's a puppy in the green room without actual eyes. It's TV's Andy Levy and puppy eye remover. Well, it was here or the unemployment line. Actually, I have no idea why we booked him. Did something happen over the holidays while I was away? Sitting right next to me, former radio personality Anthony Cumia. Sorry about the former. That's true.
A-Block. The lead. That's the first story.
Hey, Greg, you look like you're really into fitness. Maybe we could get our pump on together sometime.
All right. Well, start with economic news. The White House says this year's budget deficit will drop to $583 billion. That's the lowest level of President Obama's tenure. Last year's deficit was $680 billion, and the Congressional Budget Office projects an even lower deficit for the budget year ending September 30th. Who are we kidding? Let's address the elephant in the room. The racist elephant. You can't spell rant without ant. Last week, Anthony Cumia, seen here in a moment of quiet reflection, was fired by SiriusXM after he posted a bunch of unusual tweets following a fight with a black woman in Times Square. Cumia wrote, "So I'm taking pics in NYC and a black girl who was in frame punched me in the face. I called her an effing..." And then we have that weird kind of language I don't understand.
That from cartoon.
There you go. Because that's what she was. Then she punched me 5 more times. She's lucky I was a white legal gun owner or she'd be dead. Then 5 blacks started giving me the S word. And I'm not talking about sass. He kept going, unfortunately. They aren't people, it's a jungle out in our cities after midnight. Violent savages own the streets. It's very Travis Bickle. They all came to defend this pig. I had to yell like at dogs. The automatic jump to violence in that community is astounding. Well, obviously, Anthony's Twitter feed had been hacked. At the time, he was volunteering at a children's hospital, right?
Nobody would have believed that. I didn't even mention it.
Why are you protecting Jim Norton?
Yeah, that seems to be my goal in life. Protect my buddy Jimmy Norton.
No, I have to admire you for you didn't pull an Anthony Weiner.
No. My brother, at one point, even said, "Can you just say somebody got your phone or something?" I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. People, first of all, people that listened to me on the air would have known. Yeah, he talks like that on the show all the time. For 10 years at SiriusXM, I had spoken like that, stringing together lines of obscenities in nonsensical fashion.
Yes.
That somehow don't. You can't interpret that well at 140 characters.
Yeah, that's true. Why didn't you wait a day?
That's not what Twitter's all about.
I understand.
Come on, Twitter is instant pounding of a situation or a person you're mad at. Yeah, maybe that would have been better to think out the wording.
Yes.
Maybe if you rhymed.
Yes.
A rhyme would have been good, too. To a nice beat, perhaps.
Yes.
But, what? No, I can't say anything.
But you, even by your standards, these were pretty bad.
Yes, it was, well, I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was assaulted in Times Square.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly.
If you listen to any left-wing story that that's agenda-driven, and they never even acknowledged that I was hit.
No, so you were punched in the face. My first question is, how could you tell?
Yeah, true.
No. Okay, so let's start again. You were in Times Square, 4 a.m. drinking.
Yes.
I assume you were drunk?
No, I was actually In town, I had meetings.
Yes.
And then when I said that, of course, Jimmy Norton said Alcoholics Anonymous and things like that. But no, I was in town, so instead of just going right back to my apartment, I decided it's a beautiful night. It's Times Square. It's empty. One of the most photographed places on earth.
Right.
Let me take a few pictures. I have a nice camera now that takes great low-light pictures. So I decided to do that, not knowing, I'd be assaulted.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Why didn't you didn't call the cops, though?
Yeah, that's another thing I'm catching crap for, that people say it didn't happen because he didn't call the cops. I've known so many cops over the years and talked to them many times over the years. And if I would have called one of them to say that a girl hit me, it doesn't quite wash.
Yeah.
I don't think they care, first of all. I'm not going to use up the police resources in the pinnacle of the free world to say that a girl hit me.
I don't want to state the obvious, but you should have called me.
All right. I'll do that next time.
What would you have done, Remy?
I would have traipsed into the police department with him. We would have made a report, and there would have been a summons issued.
It probably would have been the smart move. Jessica was always
you
smart.
handled it perfectly.
The best thing you can do is go back after you've had a few drinks and get on Twitter and then tweet these things that I can't even repeat.
I was livid. Now, I defy anybody to be that angry, especially after an assault, and come off reasonable.
Yeah.
You're angry. I wanted to make a point, and boy, did I ever.
Were you also hungry? Because that also...
You think hunger might have had
Was
something
was the point you wanted to make that you were sick of your job?
That could have been one of the points. I found myself clock watching sometime during the mornings.
Well, this is what I would, I follow you on Twitter and I go, oh man. And this is like almost, but that oh man moment is almost once every 2 weeks. It's like, oh, he did it again. But this one is like, oh, I think he's, I could have sworn you did it on, you were pulling a parachute.
This could be the big one. Is what it looked like. But I've been called outspoken on Twitter many times.
Yes.
I have my points of view, which again had been voiced on the radio show for many years.
It's outspoken code for racist.
It's not. If you read those, honestly, people picked it apart. It wasn't racist. I still say it's not racist.
How can you say that?
I was talking about people that instantly go to violence.
But
there was no word. I walked down the street. She called me a white mother effer and started punching me in the face. I didn't do anything. So I addressed her and other people that act like that.
But that's not how your tweets read. Your tweets read because you kept saying they.
Animals, they. Yes, the people that would assault you.
But that's not how it read. It read like you were saying they as.
Sorry, I'm no Hemingway.
But I think that gets to Greg's point.
Mariel Hemingway is a tremendous actress. No, but basically, okay, let me ask you this. Who was the word savages and animals directed at? Because the general consensus is you were saying all blacks.
No, that's the misconception. I was saying people that act like this. And I addressed that there is a huge violence problem in the black community.
Often, by the way, you address that. Almost obsessively.
Look, let me tell you something. It's been addressed by pastors, reverends, church groups. There's marches, rallies, all kinds of things. We must silence the violence, save the children, tell them not to act with violence. You could go through the news clips and come up with tons of these. But the second I addressed it and said there is indeed a violence problem, I'm the bad guy that just said all blacks are violent. I didn't say that, but I said there was a problem.
But the problem is you said that right around the same tweets where you were saying they are savages.
Should I have taken a breath?
Yes, but I think that does get to Greg's point. They always say that don't send an email, an angry email, wait 24 hours.
Okay.
It's got to be the same for social media. Like you got to.
With him, that would have he would have just gotten madder.
More angry.
But there should be a 5-day waiting period like they have for gun purchases for you on Twitter. Yeah, you should like, you
have to get a background check and all that stuff.
No, just
printed.
Or you have to have a Twitter mechanism that has a 2-hour delay, so you can go have a sandwich and come back and go, I'll check on it. But I want to go back to one thing you said about it's a fair point. Sirius FM. It's odd that you talk like this on your show, which is fine, but they fired you over what's on social media, which strikes me as a bit
Yes, they called it aberrant, and it was terrible.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was, for 10 years on Sirius XM, I had addressed these issues, I'd made jokes, I'd talked about it, used double entendre and innuendo, and all of that.
Yes.
And yes, it was terrible.
Innuendo doesn't mean that.
Oh my goodness, how sexist too.
Yes.
And all that. So to fire me for something that was on social media is kind of hypocritical, I think. I think there wasn't even any outrage. Like, no one had approached Sirius XM and said, oh my God, you gotta fire them. Well, it was such a knee-jerk reaction in this day and age. It's dangerous to try to say anything and speak your mind, especially on things of race and sex.
But I want two quick points. First of all, I think if Sirius had waited a week, they wouldn't have had to do anything because the social media outrage would have moved on.
It always does.
But I think the point is, when you say the things on your radio show, you're saying it to listeners who know you.
Yes, and it's in the context
When you tweet it, even though most of the people that follow you probably listen to you, there are other people who don't, and they're like, what the hell is this?
So
and
then
Gawker and places like that.
Right, so then we need people like Gawker that has to then point it out and hold it up in front of people that never would have cared or seen it in the first place. It's dangerous.
But
We
that's the
are
difference between
our own big brother these days.
I don't disagree, but I think that's the difference between Twitter and saying it on the radio show. I do think it's hypocritical for Sirius to fire you for, as you said, I made this point the other night, for basically saying the same kinds of things you say on the show.
Sure.
But in this case, they were they were like, people that don't listen to the show just discovered this. What do we do?
Right? Yeah.
Would you have changed your wording if you could go back in time? If Greggy had a time machine?
I would go to 1955.
No, with hindsight, of course, you'd be like, I guess I'll, guess I'll change the words around a little bit. But no, I was angry, and I wrote things. I pointed out things that I noticed and saw that very night in Times Square. I took a lot of pictures. I took a lot of pictures of a lot of people and things that were going on in New York, and I got punched in the face by a woman whose first words after she heard the shutter click was a racist comment. Called me white mother effer. And, why am I the guy that has to be the kind person that doesn't want to insult the person that's assaulting me?
I mean,
it's ridiculous this day and age.
It's a fair point. Like, I always say, I used to get all ticked off about stuff people said, and then I realized that it's meaningless, that really it's actions that hurt. You can't, I mean, I can't get worked up about really offensive things anymore, or anything that's deemed offensive, because there's so many more awful things going on, people getting punched in the face. By the way, it's really rare for somebody to take pictures in Times Square.
Oh, that's another thing. I was being killed on Twitter about taking pictures. What's he taking pictures of? And creep shots? It's like I got a $5,000 camera with an 8-inch lens on it, and people think I have my cell phone and I'm taking up skirts. I was taking beautiful pictures of New York City.
Now, if Sirius gave your job back on the condition you apologize, would you?
I will never apologize for this. I will never apologize. Even if they did come back and said, will you? I didn't do anything wrong. This is completely... this is exactly who I am. I'm not even going to deny it. I go off on tears like this. I curse. I say horrific things about people that piss me off. And that's exactly what I did. Why am I going to apologize and say I'm different or I've changed or this? I haven't. It would be a phony, bogus apology, because if it had happened again, I'd do the same thing.
Don't you think you should go to rehab?
Well, you weren't the first person that suggested that, but...
Actually, the woman that punched him had actually... it was about that very topic. She was saying, Anthony, rehab!
They're really nice.
Are they nice? I gotta check that out.
Greg and I were talking about this earlier, which is neither here nor there for what happened, but are you kind of amazed that she hasn't come forward or that nobody sought her out and told to get her story?
Not really. I think more people are amazed that didn't see her and interact with her. She didn't come off like a woman that would be very hip on the news or read social media or read much of anything. I think she either worked at the strip club that was right across the street from where she punched me, or she's a streetwalker, a hooker. she fit the profile for that.
Because she was out at 4 a.m.
4 a.m. dressed like that.
And you were out there with a camera at 4 a.m.
That's true.
Both of those, by the way, both of those noble professions.
Yes. I'm not saying that.
Well, if she was on the fence about coming forward, she might want to respond to that now.
You might want to now.
Yeah.
I would love for her to come forward and prove that, she was a...
Well, you know what? We have a surprise, Anthony.
Oh, let's bring her out, everybody.
No, we're not that good at finding things. Yes, we have brought you this glass of water. We couldn't find the woman. No, question. Will the Opie and Anthony show still be Opie and somebody else?
I think it's Opie and Jimmy.
Yeah.
At this point.
Are you annoyed by that, or have you?
Nah, I'm not annoyed by it. I'm kind of like, for SiriusXM to be like, here's a show for 20 years. It's been Opie and Anthony. We'll just pull him out and keep them going. But there's contractual crap that they got to deal with, and I don't hold it against them. I love those guys. It kind of did make me feel good that so many people canceled their subs.
Yeah.
And can subscribe to my show. Which would be, Opie, you just got to go to AnthonyCumia.com.
There you go.
AnthonyCumia.com, and all the info is going to be there.
That's going to be your podcast.
Uncensored completely. No bosses.
This is what I laugh about. It's like, because before, you really held back.
I can't think of anything smarter for you to do, Anthony, than to do a completely uncensored show.
I think you're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should do what I do. When bad things happen to me, I go home and I journal.
Do you journal?
I just journal, and then I chamomile tea, and then I watch some of my shows, and then I go, do I still feel bad? And then I write, usually I write like
affirmations.
Affirmations, that's right.
Affirmations
I still cry. But you've been fired before. You've been fired more times than I have.
This is something that's happened over the years. It's, at first you're kind of like, oh man, now what?
Yeah.
But then you come up with things, and things happen, and, I'm a mover and shaker.
That's how, I have a feeling you're not hurting financially.
Racism has been very good to me. It's paid well. Look, obviously it was a joke. People don't understand jokes. Like 2 days after, a day after I was fired, I had my big 4th of July party.
Right.
And I have friends, believe it or not, that are black. So I took pictures.
Just because your last name is Black does not make them black.
I thought it did.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And we took pictures and posted it on Twitter.
Yes.
And it was like, here's me and my bestie. And people were like, oh, is he really trying to show that he has friends? It's like, you don't understand that that's a joke? That would be so ludicrous and ridiculous to think that you could do that. Yeah. And then we sang Ebony and Ivory down at the karaoke. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment.
Yes, that is beautiful.
Yes.
Well, this has been an exclusive. I should have called this an exclusive.
It is an exclusive.
It is an exclusive, but I forgot to. Because that's what Red Eye does. Yeah. We have a guy on that's in the news and we don't even tell anybody. We didn't even promote it.
No.
It's because, we were busy thinking about other things.
Yeah, I hear you.
The world is crazy.
It's crazy.
All right. Well, that was worse. Fun. Got to take a break. We're going to talk about more stuff. Cool. Excellent. Coming up, Andy shows everyone his tattoo of Damon Wayans. Exciting. But first, football for women? No, I've seen everything. No, I have not seen everything. That was an unsubstantiated claim.